Hey guys, it's Kesara, and today I'm going to be doing my January reading vlog part 3. So it is Sunday, January 17th. I feel like this is the week for my reading to actually kick into gear because the last couple of weeks, especially last week, I really didn't read as much as I wanted to. I was like super busy though. Like that was supposed to be my last like super busy week though, and we're going more into a normal stretch of time for me. So I'm really excited for that. In my last reading vlog, I mentioned that I was really close to the end of The Burning God by R.F. Kuang, and I finished it last night. It was fantastic. I absolutely love this book. It was so well done. This is an Asian-inspired grimdark fantasy novel. I really enjoyed it. While this is not my favorite one in the series, it's actually probably my least favorite, but I really loved the first two so much, and I was just really excited to see the ending for these characters, and the very ending was really good, and I really enjoyed that aspect of it. It still trended to a 4.5 stars for me, so I ended up giving this one 4.5 stars, which the other two I gave 5 stars. So like I said, my least favorite in the series, but still absolutely fantastic. It's one of my favorite series of all time, and I would highly recommend it to all readers of fantasy. So now I'm gonna move on to the books that I'm currently reading. So starting off with the audiobooks, first we have Snowblind by Ragnar Jonasson. So this is part of the Diversathon Readathon, which in January we are reading books set in Iceland. Snowblind is a sort of murder mystery novel that's set in Iceland. So far I'm really enjoying it. I only have like an hour left in the audiobook, so I'm excited to see where it's going, but I actually really love the audiobook and I'm really enjoying this story as well. I don't think I'm as attached to the characters or anything like that as I would usually want to be, but it's still a really great reading experience. I feel pretty similarly in this book as I do with most thriller novels, which for the most part I don't read a whole lot of them, but I do enjoy reading them every once in a while, especially when I'm in the mood, and it's really working for me right now. The other audiobook is one that I literally just got off of hold from my library, and that's Across the Green Grass Fields by Shauna Maguire. I like got this book maybe 10 minutes ago and immediately started it. I meant to finish my other audiobook before I started another one. It's a new release and I'm really excited for it. It's the 6th book in the Wayward Children series, which is a portal fantasy series that I really enjoy. You guys know one of my favorite tropes in fantasy is portals to other worlds and multiple worlds, and this series is fantastic. I really enjoyed. While not all of the books in the series I love, particularly books 3 and 5 are not my favorite, I do generally like the prequels because each book is like not in the same timeline. I generally like the prequels books, so like Down Among the Sticks and Bones, In an Absent Dream, and I believe Across the Green Grass Fields is one of the prequel books. I haven't actually looked up the summary to this or anything. I decided to just go into it completely blind because I know the series and what the series is about, and I'm really excited for it. Hopefully I'll end up loving it because the 4th book in the series, In an Absent Dream, ended up being my favorite, even though I didn't love the 5th book Come Tumbling Down that much. So I'm hoping that I'm gonna end up loving Across the Green Grass Field, but I don't know, we'll see. I expect to finish that one fairly soon though because it is only a 4-hour audiobook. Now for my physical books, we have The Invisible Library by Genevieve Cogman. Apart from Across the Green Grass Fields, this is probably the one I'm the most excited about this week. I only read the first chapter in it last week, so I'm still there, which is where I was at the beginning of last week, but I have a lot more time this week. Even today, especially, like I got home from work about 3 hours earlier than I have been getting home the last like 2 weeks. I really appreciate that, and I have plenty of time now to do a little bit more reading, so I'm really excited for that. And this is going to be my main priority for the rest of today. So hopefully later today or probably tomorrow, I can fill you in on how I'm feeling about this because I have a feeling I'm either going to absolutely love this or be very disappointed by it. I don't know which one yet because it's the type of book that I should love because it has all of the tropes that I really love, like magical libraries and multiple worlds and portals and things like that. It's supposed to be kind of like one of those atmospheric, like historical fantasies, which are all things that I love about books. But I'm a little hesitant because it does have a pretty low average rating on Goodreads, and it's also quite short for a fantasy novel. Anything under 400 pages for a fantasy novel makes me hesitant, unless it's specifically a novella. So yeah, I'm not sure if I'm gonna like this, but I'm hoping that I'm going to love it. So it is Monday, January 18th, and I have a lot to update you guys on. So first of all, last night I finished Snowblind by Ragnar Jonasson. So So this book, I actually really enjoyed listening to the audiobook for this. It was well structured and I really liked the audiobook narrator. As for the story though, I honestly think it's quite forgettable. It's just like a typical sort of murder mystery for me, and I wasn't really as attached to the characters as I would have wanted to be. I enjoyed the writing though. I really liked the way the writing was done, and I enjoy this author. So I don't know if I'm going to read more by this author or not. It was definitely something that was a little bit out of my comfort zone, but I enjoyed it for what it is, and I ended up giving it 3 stars. So this morning, as I was going to work, I finished Across the Green Grass Fields by Shauna McGuire. So this is obviously a novella. It's only a 4-hour audiobook. I feel like the first 3 hours or so of it was really good, and I got really into the story. And then the last hour of the audiobook, I just felt like the author was trying to wrap up the story. It came to a point where the main character said, "Oh, well, that happened years ago." And I was like, how did that happen years ago? That was like 2 pages ago. What are you talking about? So that kind of annoyed me. I did enjoy this one more than the last book in this series. I don't know if it's one of my favorites. I think I do like it. For me, I think it's smack dab in the middle when it comes to the Wayward Children series. It was definitely a fun read, and it gave me like middle grade vibes in a way that I wasn't expecting, because for those of you who know anything about the structure of the Wayward Children series novels, and it starts out like in our world, and then the child goes into their world that they belong in, and that transition was really good. Like the beginning especially, because it has really great representation for intersex people, and then going into the actual world, it felt really magical because the first thing we see is a unicorn, and then there are centaurs and like other magical creatures, and it's one of those types of worlds that it was just so magical and fun that I really enjoyed that aspect of it. As with all of these novellas, I feel like it just wrapped up too soon, and it could have been really great if we had just gotten like twice the amount of story. So while I did really enjoy it, with these novellas, I feel like I'm always left wanting more. So I ended up giving this one 4 stars. Since I finished both of those, I needed to start a new audiobook, so I decided to go with Death's End by Sixon Liu. So this is the 3rd book in the Remembrance of Earth's Past series, and apparently I was doing a lot of driving today because I'm already 3 hours into the audiobook, like right about there, and I'm really enjoying this. Oh my gosh, I absolutely love this series so far. It is definitely one of those series that it's not the easiest series to read. Like, it's kind of dry in the way that it's written, and the audiobooks are kind of stiff, but it works for the series in a way that I wouldn't fully expect that it would, and it's absolutely fantastic. I'm enjoying this. One thing I love about this is that it's not written in a necessarily linear timeline, because this is like in the distant future. I think the 2nd book in the series spans over like 2,000 years or something like that, or maybe it's 200 years. It's a significant amount of time. Like, most books are like a year, maybe a little bit more than that. Like, that one is like 200 years within that book. This is after that, but it also has like random things from before that too, which I really like. Like the fall of Constantinople somehow is in this book, and I really enjoy that aspect of it. So that really works for me. I'm excited to see where this book is going, because I've already gotten like hints and clues as to like the whole point of this, because I feel like each of the books in this series, it's telling us something about like the universe and nature and things like that, and I really enjoy that aspect of it. So far, I'm really enjoying this. I don't know exactly what this is going for, but I have a feeling. And I'm definitely getting vibes as to where this is going, and I'm really excited for it. And lastly, I did yesterday make a teensy bit of progress on The Invisible Library by Genevieve Cogman. I'm excited for this. I've only read like chapter 2, so I'm still like really close to the beginning. I don't have that much time for physical books, obviously. I'm enjoying what I am reading, so I'm excited for that. I'm still a little nervous to where it's actually going, but I enjoy like the character interactions that we've had so far, and I really enjoy the world building. I love the world building in this. One thing that is annoying me is the writing style. I find myself kind of skipping over a lot of things because it annoys me in the way that it's written. It has like, I don't even know how to explain it. I think I might have to read more of it to kind of understand why, but there's certain aspects of the writing style that are kind of annoying me right now, so we'll see if that continues. But so far, I really enjoy the story, and definitely the world building. I absolutely love the world building here. So it is Tuesday, January 19th. I have a bit of updates for you guys. So I've only really made progress on my audiobooks. This is mostly just driving to and from work. So my main audiobook is Death's End, but last night as I was going to sleep, or like right before, I had some stuff that I had to do that I wanted to listen to an audiobook, and Death's End kind of makes you use your your brain a lot, so I just wanted something a little bit easier to listen to while I was just like really tired before bed yesterday. So I decided to pick up Legendborn by Tracy Deonn. This is a YA fantasy, which I don't read YA that often, but this is one that I've heard really good things about that I'm really excited for. It's following Bree Matthews, who was accepted into like this early student college program, and this is right after her mother's death, and she kind of realizes that magic exists and there might be these things called Legendborn, and that maybe her mother's death is not the car accident that she thinks it is. I'm really enjoying this so far. It's definitely an easy book to read, and I'm really excited to see where it's going. Like, really excited. I've heard just so many great things about this book that I'm hoping that I'm gonna absolutely love it. I'm not super far into it just right there, but so far it's been really good. I also have made a bit of progress with Death's End also. I absolutely love this. It is so epic in scale. Like, I don't even know how to describe this. It is dark at times. It's very like optimistic at times. It's also very pessimistic at other times. It's following a bunch of different characters. You don't really get to know them that well, but you don't really need to just because of how epic the scale of this novel is, both in time and in space, which is hard to explain. I've never read anything quite like this series, and I absolutely love it. This is definitely one of those that, like, if I have nothing to do, I can just read this all day. That being said, I do need a little bit more brain power to really get into this than most of the books that I read, but so far it's been really working for me. I have made a bit of progress, just a teensy bit. I'm about there now, so not too bad. Still pretty close to the beginning, but this is absolutely fantastic so far. So it's Thursday, January 21st, and I've decided to DNF The Invisible Library by Genevieve Cogman, at least for now. I might come back to this later on, but I don't think in the month of January I'm gonna get back to this book. I didn't get super far into it, but the last time I read it, I stopped in the middle of a chapter, which is never a good sign for a physical book for me. And I just feel like I have a lot of other books on my plate right now that I'm way more interested in reading. Because mind you, I'm still in the middle of Death's End and Legendborn, both of which I'm really enjoying. But in addition to those two, I just got the audiobook for 2 new releases from my library that I hadn't expected to get until like February. But since I got it now, there's like a week and a half left in January. So there are 2 books I just got that I had planned to put on my February TBR that it looks like I'm gonna be reading in January. And they're 2 books that I'm super excited for because it's this 2 babies right here. First of all, The Fires of Vengeance by Evan Winter came out back in November, and I've been meaning to read it since well before then. So I'm really excited for this. I had thought that I would wait till February to read it, but it looks like I'm gonna be reading it sooner. So as soon as I finish Death's End, this will be the next book that I pick up. And then this little baby, We Free the Stars by Hafsa Faisal, just came out on Tuesday, and I definitely thought it would be like a few weeks before my library gave me the audiobook, but I must have been first in line or something because I ended up getting the audiobook right away for this guy. So we also have We Free the Stars that I'm really excited to get to. So when I finish Legendborn, this will be the next book I pick up after Legendborn. So it's time to talk about these that I'm currently in the middle of. I've made the most progress on Death's End by Cixin Liu. This is one of the coolest science fiction books I have ever read. The world building in this is just so good. So good. I absolutely love the world building in here. I love that it has like different eras and how things from one era somehow show up in the next in a way that you never expected to. And then there's just like some aspects that are really cool that I've never seen done in fiction the way it's done in here. Like for example, 4-dimensional space. So cool. I absolutely love that thought, and I'm really excited to see where it decides to go with that, because the interactions that they've already had with like 4-dimensional objects are so cool. I'm about halfway through it now. I'm right about there, and I do think I'm gonna finish it this weekend, and I'm really excited for it. So far, it is absolutely fantastic. I think I like this even more than The Dark Forest, and I love The Dark Forest like 100 times more than The Three-Body Problem, and The Three-Body Problem was such a great book. I absolutely loved The Three-Body Problem. So this series is just getting better and better with each book in the series, and I'm loving it so much. Then we have Legendborn. I haven't made as much progress on Legendborn, but I still have made a bit of progress on it. I am right about here. I paused in my audiobook to film this clip, so I'm in the middle of reading it right now. So far, I'm enjoying it. It has a good mix of like action and mystery that I'm enjoying, and I'm excited to see where this is going. I will say it definitely has a very YA feel to it, which annoys me a little bit, but at the same time, like, it's obviously YA fantasy. Of course it's gonna have a YA feel to it, but I tend to like YA fantasy that doesn't feel like it's YA, if that makes sense. I don't know how to explain that, but I feel like there are some YA fantasies that the way they're set up doesn't give you like that high school vibe, and this one, even though it's set in a college, kind of gives me that high school vibe. But it's fine because there is some really cool magical aspect to this that I'm really excited for. So it is Saturday, January 23rd. I made a little bit of progress in Death's End, but I made quite a bit more progress in Legendborn by Tracy Dion. I'm right about there now, so about halfway through it. And I didn't realize this going into it, but this is an Arthurian fantasy, so it's kind of like a retelling of King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table, but not really. It's kind of like the future of what King Arthur could have been if like he lived in the modern time, which is also really cool. I actually really like that, and I'm really enjoying this so far. I don't think I love it as much as everyone else seems to, but I do like it as a YA fantasy, and it's honestly one of the first YA fantasies that I've read in a while, especially one that's not like super romance based, and I really like that aspect of it. But I don't think I'm gonna finish it this weekend as I had originally planned to. In fact, I probably won't finish any other books this weekend before the end of this vlog, so that's all I have for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. I post videos on Sundays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, so consider subscribing. And if you'd like to be notified as soon as I upload, you can click that little bell icon. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up to support my channel. All social media links are in the description down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!